how it went. 4 calls later, after confirming an interview on the topic that he had agreed upon, the Sports Ministry did not pick up calls. So let me not say the Sports Ministry, but the advisor for sport to the Minister, Walter Mokoena, did not pick up calls. And we do, once again, open this up to Mr. Mokoena. If you are watching, please do come back to us, because we promised our viewers to get back to them, and you promised to give us that interview. So we'd like to give you the right to do so. Not in any way trying to embarrass you, but if you make promises in this world, I suggest you keep them. Anyway, as you've seen in our bulletin, we've been covering cricket matters in the boardroom about, well, everything. Now it's time to go off the field. The Gary Kirsten Foundation, in partnership with Betway and Gary's former teammate, Makhaya Ntini. Well, Makhaya, welcome to the program. Me and you, we're speaking everything on the field of play. The boardroom has never been our friends. We like things as they happen on the field of play. Speak to us about where you are, your foundation, when you started it. How have things come with Makhaya Ntini, bringing in the youngins of the sport?
Listen, good day. I'll say good evening to everyone that's listening. I think, we're so fortunate that we have people that they really love the sport, and then they make sure that people that are working on the ground, they do their job thoroughly. So that's why we actually being found and being raised through the game of cricket. And the reason we were so good, because we had people that they really care about it.
Your journey starts with, obviously, Baker's mini cricket. I mean, I think most of us, when we were exposed to cricket, it was Baker's cricket, because we loved Baker's anyway. I mean, biscuits were our thing. You've come a long way, Mac. I mean, a legend in your own right. And how important is it to start development at a youngest age, the youngest age possible, to actually make it out there in the big, tough world?
No, if I can, say the honest truth, the development is never started as having the vision of how far will you go, or the dreams that you can make it, to the highest level. It was just for the fun of it, running around, hitting the ball, being involved with the rest of the young kids that were your friends at that time, So it was not a matter of saying that, listen, you can make a living out of this game. It was just, as you say, that we were on the verge of having biscuits, all the time, every time we finish, play. And then when the coaches are going home, we'll go home with your hands full of biscuits.
Now, speak to us. The Gary Kirsten Foundation has brought facilities to places like Khayelitsha. As someone who has been involved in cricket for decades, how important is this to help cricket development in those areas where there's nothing else to do? Like you just said, yes, some of us, that was the only meal that we'd have, the biscuits, but eventually that's where you can be spotted.
No, I think, Betway has made a very, very good inroad, regarding of developing, sport around the country, So I think when you look at Betway, they have a slogan, they say, Betway cares, So for me, I think, being partnered with Gary Kirsten, especially with the areas like Khayelitsha and all the surrounding, having those young upcoming coaches to be part of it, and being able to get something out of. And then if we all remember that, I think COVID, has really put people backwards into their vision and want to develop the cricket in those areas. So when Betway partnered with Gary Kirsten, and then I became the part of a Betway initiative, it was the greatest thing of them all, So going to Khayelitsha to see what Gary Kirsten has achieved, in a short period of time, and then seeing, the ex-young cricketers that they play the game of cricket, but they never get into the stage of representing the country or the provinces, and then being around, Gary Kirsten. And then if we all that know that Gary Kirsten has played the game of cricket, in the highest level, he represented South Africa, and then he played, for a couple of years, I would say even more than I've played, and then one thing that I admire about Gary Kirsten, he didn't go and open the academy into the well-known schools. He chose the township, And then for me, that on its own, it says a lot about him. He is not only looking to develop cricket on the suburbs. He wants to see black cricketers coming through and represent the provinces. And then if you look at the likes of Bavuma, that's where they come from, you know? So you look at the likes of Tamitole, that's where they come from.
Yes.
He looks at the likes of, you know, I can mention a lot of players, you know, that they actually come from those, you know, township.
Yeah.
You know, for me, it was a great thing, you know, to be part of the event and then seeing how he has done. And then he's building now an indoor center, which is now, if it rains outside, the kids that they have a place, you know, to go and run to and continue with the journey of becoming the great cricketers of this country.
Yeah, that's outstanding stuff. Now, Mike, I think the names you've just mentioned, Temba Bavuma just been appointed as South Africa's cricket captain, ODI team. You mentioned the likes of Abu Lungingidi, you've mentioned the likes of Temba Petlegwayo, the likes of Yorabadas, the likes of your son, who's an upcoming star. We've seen him bowled in the 4-day series in South Africa. How important is it for exactly what you're speaking of, Gary Kirsten going to the townships and being able to say, as you watch TV now, you could be hitting a 50 for your country like Petlegwayo?
No, without a doubt, you know, I think the most important part about all of those things, now Gary Kirsten can be able to point fingers and say, you see that guy that you are watching, it comes from this part of the township, you know, because all we know that, you know, in nowadays, anybody that play cricket in the highest level, you know, can make an absolute living out of it, you know. So it's so important in a way that every time that now, when they talk to the kids, they point, you know, those names that we just mentioned, and look at those guys, how much they've achieved, you know, because they had a vision, you know, they wanted to, you know, to make life out of cricket. So Betway, that's when they're coming through, because they want to see those things happening for those kids. You know, they want to see the coaches like the likes of, I will say, Justin Ontong, you look the likes of, you know, Charles Langefeld, the likes of, you know, myself, you know, I'm one of those, you know, kids that they came from the rural areas. That I ended up playing for the country. I ended up coaching, you know, for a team that actually play on their highest level, the likes of Zimbabwe. So it doesn't end there, because, you know, those coaches as well, the moment they lay hand to a child that has been vulnerable, not knowing what to do with their lives, and then all of a sudden they enjoy, you know, the game of cricket, and then they become the fathers of those kids. And then when those kids, you know, get to graduate out of cricket, those coaches, you know, they didn't just change the life of those kids.
Yeah.
You know, they changed the entire township, because as a child that follows and seeing the one of their children, I would say the friends, you know, making it to the highest level, they become proud of that because they were part of the journey, you know. So I think, you know, with the likes of now Bavuma becoming the coach, I said I become the captain. You know, I say, you know, to the fellow colleagues that this is the best part, you know, that South Africa has ever achieved, because now all of a sudden it brings hope to the kids of the township that if Bavuma can be able to play for this country and ended up being the captain of this country, there's a future for me, you know?
Yeah.
And then that, you know, on its own, it makes a lot of, you know, I would say the hope that when the child goes back home, he ended up having a hero.
Yes.
That hero could be Bavuma. That hero could be Kagiso Rabada. That hero could be Gide Andile Petlegwayo or my son in that point. You know, so it really makes a massive difference, not just only for Bavuma being the leader. It makes a massive, you know, a difference to the kids that they're watching it at home, seeing that some of our black people can really become the leaders of this country when it comes to
Mac, we're running
rugby has done.
Yeah, we're running out of We're running out of time, my brother.
I'm so sorry, boss.
Yeah, we're running out of time. But sorry, apologies. I didn't want to cut you. You spoke about being a father to those kids who you train out there in the townships, a father figure to them. You're also a father to a rising star. I did mention earlier, you mentioned him right now as well. The pride that you must have, and Dingy Express Jr. possibly in the near future joining the Protea?
You never know. God is good. If he can understand, the meaning of that, anything that he puts, in his mind, it can be a dream come. That's
Mac, thank you very much indeed for speaking to us. Really enjoyed the conversation. Unfortunately, we have run out of time. Overall, if you're looking at your foundation and the things we have planned now, anything that we should look out for, or somebody sitting at home saying, look, if I want to join the Makhaya Ntini Foundation, what does one do?
No, I don't have a foundation. I don't want to lie to you. I don't want to give hope to the kids. Not yet.
Okay.
I don't have the foundation. But, the good thing about that, the people that they actually wants to join the foundation, like Gary Kirsten, they can either contact Gary Kirsten straight, or they contact Betway, because helps and the coaching.
Okay, that's fine. Makhaya Ntini, thank you very much indeed for speaking to us. South African legend, South African cricketing legend, sports legend. And I was speaking to him earlier and I asked him, remember the last time you saw me? He said, why should I see you? And that was way back in, I think, 2006. We met up at Kings Park in Durban to go watch some rugby. That's it for now. Do stay with